Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? The Ultimatum South Africa. We are now on episode 2, The Choice. But before we get into it, as I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. Please comment, like, share, do all those good things that you do, because you know I am on the road to 1k. Firstly, don't watch my attire, okay? Because I am getting ready to go somewhere. Don't watch my attire. I've been working from home today, which is the joys of staying in, like, you know, your pajamas. Anywho, shall we get into this episode? Oh my lord. All I'm going to say is, oh my lord. The foolishness and tomfoolery and all that is great that went on in this episode. All I'm going to say is, Nala is on a different plane. Lebo literally questioning her shit with this man, because I've never known no one to flirt the way that he flirts and in front of his woman at that. And then you got Ruth is just loving life at the moment. Isaac not liking the fact that she's loving life at the moment. Tabby in tears as per fucking usual. And the choices. All I'm going to say is, Isaac reaped what he sowed when he did the shit that he did at that table and made Ruth go in a completely different direction to where she was going to go, because she was thinking, I'm going to have respect for Isaac because I know if I went with this certain person, something might go on. But Isaac calls that trajectory because Ruth was like, let's see then, is it? Anyway, it was a mad one. So they all went to this cocktail party. You see, Kay talks about how much he loves Kenya, but what happened after the last night in my episode that I talked about, in how she was talking to him when they all did their little date thing and how rude she was, he's basically thinking that, you know, she's coming off with the toxic energy. So in his books, he feels that in his parts, she was a little bit selfish towards him. I was like, she was more than a little bit selfish, my guy. She was rude as hell. Basically, I don't know what show Kenya thinks she's on, but it ain't the Ultimatum at the end of the day, because I'm like, if you really want this man to come out of here engaged to you, that's not the way to go about it, my gal. Not at all. So he's talking about how he feels that he has a need to be selfish. I'm just like, step how you gonna step. Step how you are going to step at the end of the day, because the people up in here don't give a shit. It looks like they really just don't give a shit. So I'm like, okay. All I'm thinking is that, you know, some people may be thinking the grass is greener on the other side, but it doesn't necessarily make it true. But hey ho, who am I to talk? So you see Tabby, she's standing at the bar, basically saying that she's getting a drink, and as the independent woman that she is, and Genesis is looking on, and basically he believes that whoever has their eyes on Tabby has a lot in store for them. I was like, okay, yeah. I'm trying to work out, because even though I said at the beginning, whether it was Tabby or it's Caesar that is the emotional ones, I will get there and I will work it out. But one of them is hella emotional, and the way Kenya just carries on is ridiculous. So Nola was praising Tabby, telling her how beautiful she looked, X, Y, and Z, and she did look beautiful. All the women look beautiful, to be fair, and the men look rather handsome. Do you know what I mean? They look rather dashing. But I was like, hold up. So I'm like, my guy, wasn't your cards in your head turning towards Ruth? I'm like, he was on the Ruth train. He was proper chewing down that track with Ruth. So now all of a sudden his attentions have turned to Tabby. For me, I think Lala put it on a little bit too thick. Way too thick at this point. So then he's talking about the trial marriage, and within that marriage giving her foot massages. Tabby's there laughing and joking with him and everything, and Lebo's sitting there because Nola is across the way on the sofas and Lebo is only on the opposite side on the sofas. So they're like could be facing each other. It depends on how the edit went in that one. Could be facing each other, but they're definitely in the same surroundings. Lebo be looking on like, what in the actual fuck is going on with this guy right now? She's definitely not liking what she's seeing, because it's like Nola's taken this freedom and jaunted right down into another destination of, you are non-existent to me right now. I'm enjoying myself. And I don't know how this man can sit there and flirt the way he flirted in front of his woman in the way that he did, and not expect her to get angry by it, not expect her to feel a kind of way about it. He was hella disrespectful in her face, and didn't understand why she was getting angry. So as he sat down now, they're like, yeah, the conversation's done. Not Lebo's drink glass is empty, like hella empty. So you'd think Nola, being her man and being a attention man that he's supposed to be for his woman, even though they're supposed to be exes my ass, he turns to Kanya and says to her, turning his back on Lebo, and says to her, let me know when you want your drink refilling and I'll go and get it for you. Bitch, your fucking woman's glass is empty. Your woman's glass is empty and you're turning to a next-rated woman to say, let me know when your glass is empty and I'll gladly fill it for you. It was Kay who literally had to turn around and say to Lebo, give me your glass, I'll go and get it refilled for you, because her glass was empty. My girl was looking at the man as if to say, the fuck, am I Scotch miss to you right now? Haha, ding ding, come on now. So, as Nala can see something's wrong, Lebo decides to pull Nala up on his behaviour, basically. And Nala sees it as Lebo wanting to ruin his night. I'm just like, what is this man on? No, seriously, what is Nala on? What is Nala on? Because at the end of the day, he, one, literally flirted in the woman's face with Tabby, yeah. And then two, sat in between her and Kanya, turned his back on Lebo to offer Kanya a drink when her glass was still half full, and says, call me if you need a refill, neglecting the fact that his girl sat behind him had an empty glass. And then he wants to act like he ain't done nothing wrong and Lebo's there to spoil his fun. I don't know what show Nala thinks he's on, but he does not think he's on the Ultimatum in the slightest. He's literally enjoying this experience to the full. So basically at that point, Lebo does get up and leave because she's not ready to chat to him anymore. So from Nola's then thinking that Lebo's actions are unfair and unjustified. And I'm like, this man needs to cry a river right about now, because he's taking a full-on piss. My man is taking a piss. How can he not really see how his actions would have impacted and affected Lebo at that point in time? I'm like, all I'm going to say is these people are at a different level. They're on a different plane, they're on a different level. I swear down. They just don't give a shit. They don't care. They really don't care. To stir up a madness, they really do. I think more stuff is going to come out. More stuff is going to come out as we go along, because this is not going to be no easy ride for any of these people up in here. So, you see Kay pull Caesar to the side because he wants to talk to her, as he's saying that he does like her. Kanya at this point is watching him like a hawk, and then it kind of slips to Isaac speaking to Ruth, and he's basically trying to tell Ruth that he's in a place of disappointment and disconnect with her. And I'm like, how are you in a place of disappointment and disconnect with her at the end of the day? Ruth has come to enjoy herself within this experiment. At the end of the day, she's having fun mingling with people because this man wants to try and keep Ruth right in a bloody box. At the end of the day, he's managed it for 2 years, and now we don't like that box has been opened and she's been allowed to be set free and spread her wings. Isaac don't like it. He don't have that control that he used to have over Ruth now, because she's out there chatting to everyone, laughing with everyone, speaking to everybody. He don't like it. He does not like it. You have to question why he don't like it. Like, seriously have to question. So Isaac does admit that he's speaking to one other person within that experiment. We all know it's Kanya. He's got his eyes set firmly on Kanya. He ain't deviating from her in the slightest. So Ruth does ask who, and I'm like, at the end of the day, it's a waste of time asking who, because you'll find out at the dinner when they all get together and they make their choices at the end of the day, because everybody knows the consequences of this experiment and the possible issues this experiment can bring out. So Ruth tells Isaac there's someone that she likes. There's actually two people that Ruth does like. She likes Lindelli and she likes Nala, but in this situation she's getting on a lot more physically with Nala. Let's just keep it there. So Isaac didn't really like to hear that, and I'm like, how can you tell the girl in her face that you're interested in someone else, but then when she tells you exactly that she's interested in someone else, you then don't like it? Double standard. It speaks of double standard, and I'm seeing this quite a lot throughout these couples. So going back to Isaac and Ruth, he turned around before he left the table, basically saying that he hopes they can come out of this good. And Ruth just looked at him, and I was like, my guy, just out of it good. Not even, oh, I will miss you, oh, I hope that we'll be engaged, I hope we can move on past this stalemate that we've got ourselves into, this is what I'd want to have happen, or anything like this. When it comes to the end of experiment, nothing like that. Just just hope we come out of it good. I'm telling you, Isaac does not want Ruth. He just wants a holding place where he can have his fun before he finds that actual person that he will take home to his family. Either that, or this man is already married to somebody else and he don't want nobody to know. That's the only thing that I could be thinking of right about now. So you see Genesis and Courtney basically having their conversation, and Tabby and Aiden is looking on while they're having it. So then it moves to Nola and Ruth, and them two are having a ball, having a laugh, and again Lebo is in a near vicinity. And Nola can see that Lebo is in the near vicinity, but does he care? No, he doesn't give a fuck. So Ruth turns around and asks him, have you spoken to your ex? And this is my problem. Sometimes when you identify a person as an ex, that puts the view, of someone kind of not to be respected. You're creating that distance with that person that you're still with. That's why I won't use the word ex, because at the end of the day, it creates this narrative in their mind that this is my ex, so I can carry on like she is my ex and do X, Y, and Z, which ain't always the case, because this shit comes up to bite you in your ass when you're ready. So Lebo at the moment doesn't feel that she exists in Nola's world at all. And I'm like, you don't, my love, you don't. He's having his fun at the end of the day. You've gave him carte blanche, and this is what happens with these shows, because as I said in my previous episode, nobody has the chat beforehand as to what the expectations will be when you start to find someone else interesting and how far you are willing to take that. Nobody has those conversations at all. And you can see as time goes on that Lebo is getting more and more pissed, and it's kind of understandable, because Nola don't give a hoot nanny what this about her. He's like, she's Scotch mist. Lebo who? I don't see her. I'm gonna continue to carry on how I'm gonna continue to carry on. And essentially, I'm sorry, but Nola in this instance is carrying on like a little F boy. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Do you know what I'm saying? He's carrying on like an F-boy. So Isaac is then having a moan about Ruth being out there laughing and, enjoying herself and just being bubbly. That's what you signed up for, my love. When you accepted the terms of this show, this is what you signed up for. Everybody should know and have access to what the ultimatum is and what it does for you. I mean, even the presenters, the gorgeous presenters, I must say, explain what the ultimatum is and what it's supposed to do. So it's the expectation that the person that you knew is suddenly going to turn into a person that you don't frankly know full well, to be fair. So Aiden, he is one of these guys that actually, I think he's a people watcher. So he was watching everything that was going on around him, and he could see that Lebo was struggling at that point. So he decides to have a chat with Lebo. Lebo speaks about the fact that Nola has a lack of communication, and Aidan says this is the same thing with him and Courtney, that he has a certain disconnect when it comes to his communication with Courtney, but he feels that's something that him and Lebo could work on if they were to make a go on it together. So you see Ruth turn around and say to Nola that she needs to relax. So Nola, the jackass, decides to reply, well, you know what, have a drink, sweetheart. That sweetheart was heard loud and clear by Lebo. No, my friend. That's one thing you don't do, albeit you're flirting in front of your woman's face with another woman. But then to call her a term of endearment? Oh boy. Oh, even Aidan was like, fuck. As if to say, no. Lebo sat right there and you called Ruth sweetheart? Sweetheart? Are you mad? So then Lebo decides to call Nala over to have a chat with him. Now Nala, through this conversation, really still does not see what he's done wrong, and that he believes Lebo is trying to pick fault. And I'm like, my guy, you can't be that dense. Like, you seriously can't be that dense. He feels that Lebo is summoning him every chance that he gets. Number one, Lebo did not summon your ass, yeah? The first time you took your ass over in between Lebo and Kanya to see what it was they were talking about, you knew from then that Lebo was pissed. She dry you up. She told you the situation. You then sit, yeah? None of them sits and calls another woman a term of endearment in the earshot of Lebo. Now, this is why Lebo's called him over. She didn't summon his ass. She was calling him over to put him bang to rights. You don't do that shit. You don't. So Lebo tells him the words that he'd said to Ruth and how it impacted her. And I'm like, he needs to be more mindful and switched on. Do you know what I mean? So then you get to see that Tabby is also pissed off at Genesis because he's basically been avoiding her all night. So he's getting into his conversation with Courtney. Genesis then appears next to her, and basically she has a moan at him for the fact that he's the only ex that has not spoken to his ex throughout this whole cocktail party. So Genesis basically turns around and says to her point blank, if he starts that conversation with her, his emotions will kick in. Tabby doesn't even get an opportunity to respond before Genesis ups and walks off. And I'm like, okay, damn, my guy, is that how you playing it for real though? Is that how you playing it for real? So he leaves Tabby on the sofa by herself. She's completely devastated by that. So Aidan then asks her if she's good, and then she gets up and walks away because she's crying and everything by herself. I'm telling you, people think that going on these types of shows is easy street, and it is not. It opens you up to a lot of things and makes you think about the person that you was with for so long, thinking, is this really how the way that they can treat me when they believe that I'm no longer in their life or matter to them in that way? Is this really what's going on right now? Anyway, so Tabby says that she feels rejected by Genesis. And I'm like, well, she should, because at the end of the day, as the camera pans, she's there standing in the corner crying, crying proper tears. And Genesis is there laughing it up with everybody else. He don't give a shit that, he's left his woman devastated. He's just gone on to do what he wants to do. He's like, as long as I'm okay emotionally, I'm doing good, I don't give a shit about anything else on the outside. So he literally shut that type of conversation down with Tabby, when in actuality, they probably needed to have that conversation. I think it makes him a little bit emotionally inept at reading the signs of when another person is upset, or what he then needs to action and do next. So you see, Aidan goes out, has that chat with her, see how she is, brings her back up a little bit, makes her feel a little bit better about herself, and then she comes back in. So you see Isaac getting in his headspace too. Isaac getting hella pissed off with the fact that, Ruth and Genesis are laughing and being loud. And also he turns to Tabby and said, why are these people laughing so? And Tabby couldn't answer that question either. So he then has had enough as well as time goes on, and he decides He's walking out too, gets all angry and walks out too. And I'm like, I don't know why he did that. Because at the end of the day, Ruth was chatting to everybody when she came in there. She made no bones about chatting to everybody, laughing and giggling and everything like that. When he walked out, Ruth was just like, "Pfft, it's just par for the course for this man." I mean, I'm not gonna say that there's the sameness in regards to Tabby's situation with Genesis and why she was upset, and Isaac's situation with Ruth and why he was upset. Isaac really has no need to get upset when he's been hiding this woman for 2 years. For Isaac, it is literally, I would say, this is my opinion, as I've already said in this episode, about a little bit of control and what he believes he can do, but what he believes Ruth can't do. So he doesn't like this side of Ruth in the slightest at all. He doesn't like it. But with Tabby and Genesis, it's a different situation, whereas Genesis is literally just like ignoring her completely and not ready to have that conversation with her because he doesn't want to feel emotional about it. Forget about her emotions, because he doesn't want to feel emotional about it. So it's one day to the choice. So it's the last day of them all dating, and the couples again have been split off. Lebo is still angry in terms of what happened with Nala. Tabby is deciding to give Lindelli a chance and see how things go there, to have that conversation with him. And Isaac and Lebo, and also having a chance to have their conversations with each other. So the others go to another place called Dreambox. Nala is fucking around with the piano, and Caesar, you can see, is playfully dancing around and he's singing the beautiful Caesar. Now Ruth, although she has a smile plastered on her face, was jealous as hell because she wanted to be where Caesar was. She wanted the attention of Nala and Nala only. Lebo kind of sees herself after her conversation with Isaac having a trial marriage with him, but we all know Isaac has his eyes set on Kanya, so we'll see how that goes. Now Nala's thinking that his connections with Ruth may not be good for his relationship with Lebo, and I'm thinking, no shit, Sherlock, because you two are already there. Like, you two are already there, and you've got Ruth already in her little compartment saying that she could see herself falling in love with Nala. I'm like, okay. So then we move further along, and you see Kay getting to know Courtney better. Kay is liking Courtney and feeling her. Kanya is not feeling anybody but Isaac. Let's just put that out there plain. She's not feeling anybody but Isaac at the end of the day. She friend-zoned Aiden like a good one because there was nothing there. I don't think Aiden really wants to be with anybody up in there. He does want Courtney, he does miss her, but he knows the aim of the game is to try and change things in which to learn, or change things for the better, for the future, for them. So I think he has an idea of who he does like, but he's playing his cards a little bit close to his chest. But I don't think he's going to pick anyone in terms of like a romantic or kind of chemistry or sexual connection with them. For him, it's more about learning about himself to better himself in regards to his relationship with Courtney. He ain't looking to be up in no mix up or no mess up. At the end of the day, that's the vision I'm getting from him. Lindelli is truly enjoying himself with Caesar. So then it comes to choice day, and basically Ruth is thinking about choosing Nala, but then decides that it may be too risky in choosing him in regards to her relationship, but she believes in choosing Lindelli may be better. So she's not here on a yes or no basis at the moment. She knows where she is with Nola, and she knows what the potential or possibility could be if them two decided to, like, gravitate together. So she decides that she wants the opportunity to speak to Lindelli. So it's been arranged where her and Lindelli have like a separate date with each other. So Lindelli as well, you see him getting ready, and he wants the opportunity to speak to Ruth also, because he's basically saying that he feels that he could connect with her more, but he's not really had the opportunity to speak to Ruth because Nala's always been in the way. Because Nala was cock blocking you, my guy. He was cock blocking you, my guy. So I'm like, okay, there could be possible dangerous waters here. Possible dangerous waters. And I'm kind of like, is Ruth ready right now to make her choice? She's basically saying that it's complicated. And with her idea of marriage, she wants to try something new, and she doesn't want to do the same as she'd been doing with Isaac. Yeah. In other words, letting this man having his cake and eat it too, by keeping you in the background, by keeping Ruth in the background, and only seeing him when he wants his, probably when he wants his needs met. Yes, he'll probably wine and dine her, and she will see that it's his romantic gestures, he's doing this, he's doing that. But yet, after 2 years, he's still kept you hidden. You've not met his family in the slightest. Your siblings only know this man from a picture. Only know this man from a picture. And that says something, and his family don't even know about her. That says a lot. A lot. So, it kind of looks from the date Lindelli and Ruth do have that she may pick Lindelli. I think she set her sights on, actually, I'm going to pick Lindelli because I don't want to fuck up my relationship if I pick Nola, because I know what's going to happen if I pick him. So I was like, okay. So Tabby is then going to have an extra date with Aiden. They kind of do rock with each other, but she wants to see if there's anything more. Aiden saying that he does love Tabby's energy. Tabby sees what Aiden does that Genesis doesn't do in a relationship. Now, this harks back to the fact that it was Aiden who went to comfort her when Tabby was in tears. And so now she's thinking that, you know what, maybe we could make this work if we paired off with each other. At first, I would say it was hella awkward. It gets to the table now. This is where they're all making their choices and they're coming in by one on one. And you can see as soon as Isaac or Ruth walk into that room, they're not feeling each other at all. Isaac's not feeling Ruth. And she basically says that she feels a cold shoulder from him. My girl, you were getting more than a cold shoulder from that man. That man was going on like he didn't even know who the fuck you were. He was set to punishing this girl, and I'll explain why in a minute. So it comes to Aiden first, and he said the lady I choose will be the lady who will challenge me the most and make him think about how he deals with things. So I'm gonna say that Aiden did pick Lebo. So then they go to Caesar Kelly, and she said she had fun and it was hard not seeing Lindelli, and then she starts to cry. And then she talks about the dream box and the connection that she kind of had with Genesis, and it made her happy, etc. and yada yada yada. And Genesis talked about the fact that he loved how she laughed and this, that and the other. So Genesis talked about how the cocktail night being the only awkward part about not speaking to Tabby, as he says that he's emotionally connected to her and didn't want to undo all the progress he had made. And I was like, rewind and come again, my selector. What you mean undo all the progress that you had made? What progress you made? What progress you made that you couldn't go and take time to talk to your gal there? And this is what I don't understand with these people. So Tabby point blank said that she felt ignored and rejected. And she talked about Aiden being there for her. You could see that Genesis didn't like that. He didn't like that in the slightest. So Ruth spoke about the skating, and literally Ruth at this point put Lindelli on a pedestal in front of Nola. So she weren't even talking about Nola at that point. And she believed that she will learn a lot from Lindelli. So I was like, okay, no mention of Nola. So her potential view was she was going to pick Lindelli. So then Isaac decides he's going to come in hot. So he said he had a wonderful time with the women except for his ex. And I thought, oh, Isaac, you should not have done that, my boy. And the reason why Isaac should not have done that, because not only was it a bitch move, it set a chain reaction in Ruth. Let's just put it that way. It set a chain reaction in Ruth, because Ruth went in at first and said Isaac was not supposed to include her in his interactions with people. And I said, that's because Isaac wants to punish you, my dear, for having a good time without him. That's the reason why he did what he did. That's the reason why he made you feel like shit, or tried to make you feel like shit at that table. So Ruth goes first. And who does Ruth pick? Ruth picked Nola. And Ruth only picked Nola because Isaac pissed her off with the comment that he made just before the choices was going to happen. And I thought, oh, that was a full-on power move. No, no joke. That was a full-on power move by Ruth. Full-on power move. But I'm thinking it's gonna come back to bite her in the ass in the end. It will come back to bite her in the ass. Because she was gonna pick Lindelli up until Isaac opened his rotted mouth. Now it's Ruth and Nala. Isaac did not like that. Ruth sat down in her seat and was like, my girl was smizing that up because she was like, yeah, bitch, checkmate. That's what she was thinking. Hella checkmate on that. And what are you gonna do? Because Isaac couldn't do nothing. So even Lindelli was kind of disappointed by that and shocked by her choice, given that they had the date, and within the date that they were talking about, it appeared that Ruth was going to pick him. Ruth was going to pick you until Isaac decided to open his mouth and jump down her neck. So it was Nala's turn to pick, and of course he was going to pick Ruth. Did we think any differently? Come on now. So Isaac is not liking the fact that Nala accepted Ruth back and wondering if he can trust Nala. And I'm like, no, my guy, you get it wrong. You got it wrong. Because it ain't about you trusting Nala. It's about you trusting Ruth, because Ruth is the one that is indebted and owes loyalty to you, not Nala. Nala can do whatever the fuck he wants with up in that. Because Nala's loyalty and where he needs to put his bags is with his gal Lebo. Nala don't know no loyalty to you, my guy, at all. But hey how, we shall go on. So Courtney ended up picking Genesis, and that was kind of a shock because I actually thought that she would pick Kay. She actually did look like she was better suited to Kay. He kind of thought so too. Genesis even looked shocked at that one. And she basically felt that her and Genesis had more deeper conversations than her and Kay did. So Caesar was not happy with that pick either. And I'm just like, do you know what? It is what it is at the end of the day, my gal. It is what it is. So Genesis picks, and he accepted Courtney's proposal, as Caesar felt that she was put on the back burner in terms of two of the choices that went out there already. So she wasn't happy that Genesis had said yes to Courtney, basically. Aiden just looks at Courtney and smiles and is like, okay then, there's your pick, you've made your pick, I hope it all goes well. So it's Caesar Kelly's turn to pick, and at this point she is just proper crying, and I'm like, this is why these people need to prepare themselves for possible rejection, not only from their partners but also from the people that are picking their choices at the end of the day, because they're gonna experience this a lot within this experiment. So it kind of ends with Caesar Kelly walking away from the table, and that is where I'm going to leave it for now, my people. But I will be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I am on and doing videos. Please, my good people, comment, like, share, do whatever it is that you do, because I am on the road to 1K. I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.